Homework 39, solving some more word problems with systems of equations. This time a lot of them will have it where you have to solve by the substitution method instead of the elimination method. The first one here says, John bought 2 computers, 1 desktop and 1 laptop. Before finance charges, the laptop cost $1,000 less than the desktop. John paid for the computers using 2 different financing plans. For the desktop, the interest rate was 5% per year. For the laptop, it was 7.5% per year. The total finance charges for 1 year were $487.50. How much did each computer cost before finance charges? So I'm going to use D for my desktop and L for my laptop. And taking that first part, it says before finance charges, the laptop, L, that's the one that's mentioned first, is $1,000 less than the desktop. 1,000 less means we're subtracting 1,000 from the price of the desktop. Second part, for the desktop, the interest rate was 5%. So 0.05 for the desktop. For the laptop, it was 7.5%, plus 0.075 on my laptop. Total finance charges $487.50. So on this one, since we have that top equation already solved for L, we're going to go ahead and solve this one by the substitution method by putting that D minus 1,000 in place of the L. So rewriting my equation, 0.05D plus 0.075, almost looks like what I wanted, 0.075 times the laptop, which is D minus 1,000, equals the $487.50. So on this one, we have to go ahead and use our distributive property and multiply that out. So 0.05D plus 0.075D minus, if I take this times 1,000, I'm just moving my decimal 3 places, so I get 75 equals $487.50. Just because I'm running out of space there, I'm going to do 2 steps here. I'm going to go ahead and add my 75 to that side and combine my like terms over here. 5% plus 7.5% is 12.5%. So 0.125D equals 487.50 plus 75 is 562.50. So in order to solve that, we have to divide that by our 12.5%. So divide that by 0.125, and I get that the desktop, D, is $4,500. So the desktop cost me $4,500. That's a pretty expensive computer, must be really good. On the laptop then, we know the laptop is $1,000 less, so if we take our $4,500, subtract 1,000, that would make that one $3,500. Number 2, same kind of thing here. Theater group made appearances in 2 countries. The hotel charges before tax in the second country were $1,500 higher than in the first country. The tax on the hotel bill was 9.5% in the first and 4.5% in the second. After the trip, the total tax paid on accommodation expenses was $662.50. How much was the hotel bill in each country before tax? So I'm going to say the first and the second. And it says the hotel charges before tax in the second country, S equals, were $1,500 higher than in the first. So I'm going to add 1,500 to the first, so S equals F plus 1,500 then. Says the tax on the hotel bill was 9.5%, so 0.095 in the first country, and 4.5%, so 0.045 in the second, and the total tax is $662.50. So it looks very similar to that previous one we did, except for we're adding this time instead of subtracting, but we are going to substitute in for the S on the second equation. So 0.095F plus 0.045 times F plus 1500 in place of our S equals $662.50. And then we have to use our distributive property. So 0.095F plus 0.045F plus 4.5% of 1,500. So 0.045 times 1,500. 67.5 equals $662.50. Again, I'm going to go ahead and combine a little bit. This needs to come over here, so I'm going to subtract my $67.50 and combine my like terms. 0.095 plus 0.045 is 14%, so 0.14F equals $662.50 minus $67.50, $5.95. And then I'm going to divide it by my 14%. And so, first country, $42.50. My charges in the first country, $4,250. Now in the second one, it was $1,500 higher. So if I take my $42.50 plus my $1,500, I get $57.50. So $4,250 is my bill in the first country, $5,750 is my bill in the second country. And again, if I wanted to check my answers, I would plug them into this equation and see if I get taxes of $662.50. Number 3, same kind of thing. John bought 2 computers, 1 desktop and 1 laptop. Before finance charges, the laptop cost $1,000 more than the desktop. So I have my desktop and my laptop, and it says the laptop is $1,000 more than the desktop. $1,000 more than the desktop, D plus 1,000. We have 2 different finance plans, 6% on the desktop and 7.5% on the laptop. Total finance charges $885. So again, solving by substitution, we are going to replace the L with D plus 1,000. So 0.06D plus 0.075 times D plus 1,000 equals my 885. Using my distributive property, 0.06D plus 0.075D plus 75 equals 885. Right? Again, to multiply by 1,000, I just move my decimal 3 places. That makes that easy to do. And then I'm going to add and subtract, and so I'm going to combine my like terms here, but I'm going to minus my 75 and move that over there. So if I take 6% plus 7.5%, I'm going to have 13.5%. And 885 minus 75 would give me 810. And I'm going to go ahead and divide that by my 13.5%. So divide that by 0.135. So my desktop is a whopping $6,000. Buying really expensive computers these days. My desktop is $6,000. My laptop was $1,000 more than $6,000. So my laptop would have been $7,000. I don't think I'm buying either of those 2 computers. Now I threw one more of these on here because the next one is slightly different than the previous three. I don't know why I just didn't eliminate one of those three, but I didn't. So we got some extra practice. It says last year Kareem had $20,000 to invest. He invested some of it in an account that pays 9% simple interest per year. He invested the rest in an account that pays 7% simple interest per year. After 1 year, he received a total of $1,700 in interest. How much did he invest in each account? So I had my first account and my second account, and in this case it's saying how much in each account. Well, it told us how much he had total, so we can start out and say that the first plus the second is $20,000 altogether. Very similar to the previous homework pages problems. So, he had 9% on the first and 7% on the second, and he had $1,700 in interest altogether. So on this one, you could solve it by substitution like we did all those previous ones, but I'd probably go ahead and use the elimination method, and because I don't really like negatives, I'm going to use the smaller one, so I'm going to multiply by negative 0.07 so that I can solve by my elimination method. So negative 0.07f minus 0.07s equals 20,000 times negative 0.07 would be negative 1,400. 9% minus 7%, 2% of f. Those cancel each other out. 1,700 minus 1,400 would be 300. So to solve for f, we're just going to go ahead and divide. I'm figuring you already knew that. So, f is $15,000. So I put $15,000 in my first account. It had a better interest rate. How much did I put in my second account? Well, I knew the total. The first plus the second was 20,000. I knew I put 15,000 in my first, so if I subtract my 15,000, that leaves me 5,000 for my second. So if I take 9% of 15,000 plus 7% of 5,000, yep, that's what I got for that answer, I should have $1,700 if I just quickly check it out by plugging it in here. And sure enough, it does. So that's the last of the word problems, but not quite the last of your section.